thank you everyone for being here. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Diogo Henriques from the University of Porto. I'll be the one presenting this session. So I hope that you're all having a great meeting so far and taking full advantage of this event. Hopefully you'll find this webinar very fruitful as well. So welcome to the third webinar in the IN-4-AHA Matchmaking Event 2022. Today we're speaking about financing streams, focusing on private funding, angel investors, example and practice. So for this topic, we wanted to give you two perspectives on private funding. So both will use their experience, discuss what they do and what they look for, and some advice also. So we have Nacy de Brito as an angel investor and Bellmunt as a venture capitalist. So just thank you very much for being here. So I'll just give some short presentation on the two speakers of today, and then we can start the presentations. So starting with Nacy, which will be the first speaker today. So she started out as a programmer in a major Canadian bank, implementing home banking in '95, then moved to Portugal in '97 to work in IP, an internet service provider, helping the country to access the new and amazing global network. From the 2000 to 2008, she created various online businesses such as 9Art, 2020 Multimedia, and Alice.pt, achieved the great success. And then in 2008, she decided to change course. She sold her companies, enrolled in an MBA for executives, and joined the Portuguese Pharmacists Association, overseeing the digital integration of business-to-business commerce in the sector. In 2013, she decided to change course again, first joining Plano as a partner, doing consultancy for startups and specializing in funding opportunities to increase growth. In 2017, she created Semeia Venture, a business angel investment fund specific for pre-seed investment, and is now creating a venture capital to invest in various startup investment funds. Outside business, she is active in promoting women involvement in leadership and technology. Thank you very much, Nacy, for accepting our invitation. I'll also just present our second speaker for today, which is Anna Bellmunt. Anna is an associate at Asabys and is responsible for sourcing and assessing opportunities for the scientific development and business perspectives. Previously, Anna was investment analyst at LSP, where she was responsible for the initial deal flow screening, in-depth scientific and clinical due diligence on investment opportunities, and also served as innovation manager at Knowledge and Technology Transfer Office at EDI BAPS, where she advised entrepreneurs on intellectual property protection and commercialization strategies. Before, Anna was a researcher in the growth control and cancer metastasis group in the IRB Barcelona, and she was previously also awarded a PhD in biomedicine by the University of Barcelona, a master's degree in biomedical research from the Pompeu Fabra University, and two bachelor degrees in chemistry and biochemistry by the University of Barcelona, and combined her studies with scientific research training in several research groups in Paris and Barcelona. So thank you very much, Anna, also for accepting our invitation. And without further ado, I'll give the floor to Nacy. Thank you all very much.
Thank you for having me. It's a pleasure to share my knowledge. Please feel free to also stop me if you want to ask me any questions. Put it in the box like the Q&A, and I'll answer them at the end or in the middle, depending on what type of question it is. Feel free to do that. I'm going to talk a little bit about smart money, and this experience of being a business angel and now going into the VC world also taught me a few things. So I'm going to try to pass that information on to you too, so that you can decide who you want to get money from, which is very hard to do. So the smart money, I'm going to just, when we talk about innovation and doing things differently, I love this quote, which is very simple, because the secret of success is to do common things uncommonly well. Okay, and that's usually where innovation comes in. Okay, Rockefeller said this many years ago, and it's still today this is a truth. because usually when we have an idea, we're not usually changing the world completely. We're just changing something that we want to do very well, and that we know we can do it differently. So this is very important when we're looking at projects and when we're looking at where we're going to put our money into a project. I'm not going to go through my background because Diogo did a great job in giving my background. Thank you for that. Yes, I am a serial entrepreneur first, and then an angel investor with a computer science degree as a background. So I am a total internet geek. And now I'm a general partner in a VC, in Ground Capital. Okay, so I did all my life, I've been connected to the internet. When we think about getting money from private investors, be it business angel, venture capital, you always have to think about venture capital is just one option, okay? Because it's not easy, and I'm going to explain you why it's not easy to take this route, okay? My favorite way to get money is from customers, okay, which in this list is number 4. Because if customers buy your product, you can get money from anyone, okay? But because we live in such a complex world and our solutions are complex, we do need to test it before we get customers. We do need to get our proof of concept. So the way you can get money is by side jobs. You know, you do some consulting on the side and you get some bootstrapped, what's called bootstrapped, and you get some money. You do some crowdfunding, you get some people that believe in you and get some money that way, or you get a grant, okay? There's lots of grants for a lot of projects that you can get. Obviously, customers, and then the last one, you ask for a loan in a bank to an institution, okay? So there's various ways you can start a project and not going directly into a business angel or a VC. And you have to think about all of that before you want to talk to investors that are private, okay? Why? Because when we invest in a project, we're investing in lottery tickets almost, okay? And we look for 2 things specifically. For companies that exist in high uncertainty, so they have a lot of risk, okay, with little past results. Let's say, give you an example, Airbnb. No one ever, before Airbnb, if you asked anyone, would you rent your house for a week to a stranger? Everyone would say no, okay? But what happened? Airbnb became #1 in the world. It's not only in a small country, it's in the world. So that is a company that it was totally uncertainty completely. Even if you did market research at the time, people would say no. If you look at the past, the results were almost 0. But then if you look at the results in the future, they were very high, okay? So we look for projects like that, okay? And not everyone has projects like that. And then the second one, we look in areas where high capital outlies the advance of revenue. What this means is you invest a lot, but then you know you're going to get a lot of revenue, okay, in the future. And where this intersection happens is what we like. So we're always looking for projects where the monthly recurring revenue is happening, okay? Where money is always coming in. You did it once, You offer the service once, and then you can repeat it over and over again. So it's almost like your project, it's a product. That's why we like technology projects. Okay, that's why we love to look at tech projects, because they have the SaaS model, what we talk about. But it doesn't mean that this cannot happen in other areas too, okay? It's just that when you think about a project, you have to think about it as a product and making sure that your customer is always coming in every month or every year. They need you, okay? And they come back. So these two type of projects are a competitive advantage in our sector, okay? In any sector, okay? So if we find projects that have these two components or only one of them, they are a competitive advantage. And this is usually what investors look for, okay? And that's what we like, but this means it's a lottery ticket, okay? So this means, like, to give you an example of 2,000 projects that we analyze, we'll probably find 3 like this, okay? So it's very, very small. And for you to think that it's easy to get funding, it's not, okay? I'm not saying that those are the only projects we look at. What I'm saying is that's what we're looking for. And if you don't have those ingredients, okay, it's very hard for us to say yes, okay? And we learned this, okay? We learned this with time. As a business angel, when I started in the beginning, I probably didn't know this, okay? So I thought, I'll just analyze and I'll like the team and I'll like the project and I'll just invest. But then at the end, you know that those projects are not going to have success, okay? So you have to look at various areas of the project and look for that lottery ticket. And why do we do this? Okay, because VCs and investors are businesses too, to start with. And because of that, I'm going to explain a little bit and how it works, okay? So that you understand that before we even analyze projects ourselves, we already did so many pitches, so many, and we have spoken to so many investors that they had to believe in us first, okay? So we're really good at presenting. We're really good at pitch decks, okay? And who do we present it to? Do you see here, limited partners, LPs? These are public. What are LPs? They're public pension funds. They are corporate pension funds, insurance, high net worth individuals, family office, foundations. That's who we pitch to. What do we pitch? We pitch our investment thesis and we create a fund, okay? So the LPs put money into the fund, and then let me take this one. This venture capital firm is who you usually talk to, okay? This 220 rule, this means this is how we get paid, okay? And we manage that fund. But if you notice, the money that's here, it's not ours. It belongs to the limited partners, okay? And we promised them an investment thesis. We told them that we were going to invest specifically in one type of sector and one type of territory and one type of companies, okay? So when you talk to any type of investors, even business angels, we have thought about this, okay? What type of companies we're going to invest in. And when you talk to VCs, you have to know that, okay? You have to know what their investment thesis is to see if you fit in that, if you have the qualities to fit in that fund. okay? The venture capital firm can have more than one fund going on, okay? But this is how it usually works. So for us to get these limited partners to put money into the fund, I don't know, we usually do around 400, 500 presentations to individuals, okay? So it's quite a bit. So we do much more than a startup will do to VCs or to business angels. So we're really good at knowing and looking at a pitch deck and seeing where the little holes are, okay? And that's why we're so good at this. And that's why sometimes we're really good at finding those lottery ticket ones. After when we do that, okay, when we have the money, then we start investing, okay? And when we invest, we keep a part of the equity. So for VCs, the clients are the LPs, and the investment we make, we have to make sure that we are investing in the right place. Okay, so then we can have returns for the limited partners. So when we take this path, okay, I'm just going to talk about a path. This is a path that a company can go through. It doesn't mean that you have to go through it all. But in the US, usually this path takes around 6 years. And in Europe, it takes around 10 years. Okay, you usually start with your friends, fools, and family. Then you're part of incubators, the business angel, crowdfunding. You get a few types of investment here. And then you go into a seed. And once you start here, seed in Series A, this is when you can go into the VC path, okay? And this expansion VC, when you start growing, okay, and I put a line over here if you can see it, usually in Europe, to get to this line, you take between 5 to 7 years. This doesn't mean that everyone is the same like this, it's just an average, okay? Because sometimes when you're a really good project and you're still in the early stages, this can speed up, okay, a little bit. And it also depends on your experience as a founder too. Okay. If you're a serial founder, you know how to shorten these years. This is only a path, and it's a path that you can go. But if you get here, you're already in the VC. And since VC sets you on a path, it also means that you've hired a boss, okay? And sometimes, even the business angel, it can be that your boss, okay? They say they're gonna be your mentor, they say they're gonna help you, but you can get investors that are really, really, really with you, okay? And they help you with every decision you make, which it can be very good for you, okay? But you have to have an open mind to have that. So you have to make sure that you feel comfortable with that person being with you, okay? And not everyone likes that. So when you go into this path, you have to make sure that you know you hired a boss. Sorry. So I'm going to do some rapid answers to a few questions I usually get all the time. And then I'm going to give the floor to Anna. Sorry. Well, what do the different types of investors expect to see with respect to progress on team, product, and traction? We don't expect you to be perfect, never, okay? We expect you to show what have you done and failed, and what are you going to do with solutions to grow it properly, okay? We're not afraid of seeing failure, okay? What we want to see is actually the solutions for those failures. and why are you going to succeed? Okay. How do you allocate the proceeds from fundraising? So if you're asking for 100,000 or 1 million, where do we want to see this money going into? Okay. We always want to go see it into growth. Okay. We never want to see this money for you to rent a nice space so that your team is nice and cozy. Okay. We'd want to see it for that. We want to see it because you want to hire a better engineer, or you want to hire a specialized marketeer, that you're going to develop your product and you're going to sell your product. So you're going to invest in marketing. So that's where we want to see the money going into. Okay. We don't want to know if you're going to buy assets. Okay. That's something that you can do after, when you make a lot of money. So in the beginning, we want to see usually the money going into these 3 areas. It doesn't mean that it has to be always like this, but these are very important areas for us, because this is what's going to make you grow. Okay. The other question we get a lot is, how do you set up and manage a cap table? Okay. How are you going to distribute the equity that you have? This is very hard to answer, and each country is different. Each region is different. The States is different from Europe. Portugal is different from Spain. Italy is different from UK. So what you have to do here is ask for help. Okay. Ask someone that you trust or that you know, and just ask for help in how you're going to manage this. Okay. And how you're going to distribute this. You don't have to know it all. You don't have to read everything that's on the internet, because usually whatever you read is very US oriented. Okay. You're going to do some mistakes. It's okay, but just ask for help. Okay. And ask someone to help you to construct this. How do you identify friendly investors to test your pitch on? This is another important one. Not all investors are people that you want. As I said before, you're hiring a boss, right? So not every single investor is someone you want to have as a boss. But how do you know that? You don't know. So usually what you have to do is talk to startups in their portfolio, okay? Talk to other founders and find out, okay? How is this investor? How is it to work with them? This one is very hard for you and very hard for us, okay? How do you update your pitch? So you do your pitch once, and then you go talk to an investor and you change it. Then you go talk to another investor and you change it again. Then you go talk to your mom and you change it again. Then you're going to talk to your longtime friend and you change it again. Okay, you have to stop. Don't do that. Okay. Update only if you believe in it. Okay. And whatever information the person is giving you. Do not update your pitch deck just because someone said it's better in blue than red. Okay. Just update the information if you really find that it's going to help you win the next presentation. Okay. The pitch deck shouldn't be something that you change every day, every week. Okay. It should be something that it's almost like, you know, you're telling a story. It's your story. It's no one else's story. So your story is yours, and it has everything that's written there. It's your truth. So you have to believe in it and everything that's written there. Every single phrase, every single image, every single data that's put in there. So just because someone told you, yeah, change that to yellow, or put this in a table, whatever. If you believe that that's going to make you better, yes, change it. If not, don't change. Use the same version over and over again. You're going to become better at telling your story, and you're going to believe it more and more as you do it. So once you do your pitch deck, Just make sure everyone believes in everything that's written in there. It takes a lot of time, but it's worth it. Okay. So how do you know when you're ready to fundraise? This one is hard because everyone believes that they're ready to fundraise. If you ask anyone, what do you need now? Oh, I need money. That's like question number one, right? And the answer, it's easy. I need money. So everyone needs money. So I'm ready to fundraise. No, that's not when you're ready to fundraise. Okay, you have to be very serious about what you're doing. Okay. You have to really put in the time. You're going to work 24 hours a day on this. Okay. So you have to make sure that you're very serious and you're going to take this very seriously, because as you saw, and I explained to you how the business is built up, there's a lot of people that are going to believe in you and that are going to give you money, and they're going to expect results. So once you ask for money, this is a very serious act. Okay. And you have to be trustworthy. So you can't just go and talk to investors. I think I want, okay. The moment we hear, I think, you lost us. Okay. You have to come to us and say, I want this money now. I need it for this, this, and that. And I'm going to make it happen. That's what we want to hear. Okay. And for you to do that, you have to be serious about what you're doing. So hopefully these rapid answers gave you a little bit of help for your project, but I'm obviously available to ask for more questions in the end. I'm passing it on to Anna.
Thank you very much, Nancy. Really clarifying that. Thank you.
Thank you, Nancy. And yeah, thank you for inviting me. So it's a pleasure to be here. I would share my screen. Yeah. So yeah, my name is Anna Bellmunt. I'm a venture capitalist in Asabys. So I'm associated Asabys partners. And we are focused really in investing in the healthcare sector. So for this reason, I think it's important. Sorry, it doesn't work. I will try. Sorry for that. Okay. It's happening. Okay.
Anna, sorry, I think we have a broken connection. You have the mic off. Your mic is off, Anna.
Now, okay. Yes. Can you hear me? Can you see my screen? I don't know what happened. So sorry for that again. So yeah, as I was mentioning, I'm Anna Bellmunt, associated at Asabys Partners. We're investors in the healthcare sector, and just for you to understand what are we doing as VCs, it's important that you understand what are the needs of a biomedical project. So since we have, or since a scientist has an idea, has published something interesting since this very beginning until you get a drug marketed that helps patients, or a medical device, or wherever, there's a really long road to go, usually more than 10 years. You need to pass through preclinical studies, clinical studies, etc. And this path is really high risk. So, and with high needs of financing. So this is important, and I think that it's something relevant in our industry. We need a lot of time we need to put a lot of money as investors and with a high risk. And this is key. So who are investing in these projects? So as Nacy was mentioning before, at the very beginning, when there's more risk and less financial needs, let's say, family, fools and friends, business angels, etc., are the key investors in these stages of development. And then in more later stage, VCs have an important role. So each VC has a different strategy and they decide to enter in different stage of development. So this is key for entrepreneurs to understand what are the VCs looking for and in which stages of development they are willing to invest. And then the idea is just to make the company grow and be able to exit the company by entering into a public market or by the acquisition of a pharma company, for example, etc. So there's a lot of financial needs and it can be covered by different players there. And I think that Nacy just explained it to you really, really well. So what are we doing? We are a private equity capital. As I said, it's really a high risk investment, but with a potential to have above average returns. So this is our key part of an investor, and it's important for us just to be able to diversify on our portfolio and also to have a team that is really specialized and have the knowledge to invest in each of the sectors. So how do we work? I think that Nacy also explained it to you, but just as to summarize this part, we need to fundraise a VC fund. So we talk with different players or potential investors, pension funds, banks, public entities, etc., until we can get a fund. With this fund, we can take a small percentage of this fund just for the salaries, to pay the bills, etc. And then what we do is to invest in our portfolio companies. Now with this, the fund, each VC decides how many companies and the strategy of this fund, no? How many companies they would like to invest, in which industry, geography, etc. They not only invest in the companies, but they also have a key role in the companies since the investment. They usually take a place and a seat on the board of directors, so they are there to take decisions. They are there to help entrepreneurs with their networking, to different key opinion leaders, to different pharma companies, for example, to different VCs that can be interested in investing in the following rounds. So they are key in making the company bigger. And then our goal is at the end just to invest, to be able to pay back the money to our investors. And in case that the returns are really high, then we have the right to take this carried interest for us, just in case we really succeed. So how we exit the company? So in this case, there are different options, but the ones that makes more sense for us are a third-party sales, being acquired by a big company, or entering into IPO, entering into the public market. So just for give you an example of what we do at Asabys, we are a venture capital firm founded 4 years ago in Barcelona. We have raised our first fund with 160 million under management, and with this fund we invested in 12 companies. In fact, one of them was already exited, so we are really happy about that. And we invest in different stages of development of the companies, so we can invest since the very beginning. So we did 3 company creation, helping entrepreneurs, scientists to build the company, build the team, etc. And then we can also invest in Series A, Series B, and follow-ons. We invest, as I was mentioning before, in the healthcare sector, but we can invest in the biopharma space, in the medtech, and also in the digital therapeutics. We are a team with different backgrounds, financial and scientific backgrounds, with a lot of experience in the VC world, and with a lot of networking with different VCs, key opinion leaders, etc. So with the first one that we raised, we invested in 12 companies, 4 in the biopharma space, 4 in the medtech, and 4 in the digital therapeutic space. Always are therapeutic solutions. We've been able to exit one of the companies, Origo Biopharma, just 1 year after we led the Series A investment. And then we did 3 company creations. Ona Therapeutics, so an antibody against advanced cancers patients. Nuance Therapeutics, that it's a platform company developing modulators of intrinsically disordered proteins just to tackle the, different indications. And also in brain neuroelectronics, so medical device made by graphene that is inserted into the brain to help patients from Parkinson. So the idea is that we are trying to diversify our portfolio, not just for the different technologies, different industries that we are entering, but also in the type of indications that we want to be involved in. So what drives us to invest in a certain company? This is really key, and I think that it's important for entrepreneurs that are listening to us to understand what are our goals, just to be able to fit with different and match with different VCs. So first of all is our strategy. So we have a clear strategy on the investment of our fund in terms of the industry that we want to go, the geography that we are able to invest, and also it's important the portfolio composition and to be able to diversify. So there are different types of VC. There are VCs that are more focused, for example, or that want to invest only in oncologic treatments, but obviously they need to diversify in terms of therapy, types of therapy, in terms of technologies, etc. Others can diversify in the type of indications, etc. So it's important for an entrepreneur to understand the strategy of the VC, and this is key. The second thing that it's key for us is the science and the technology that it's behind the company. So it should be really disruptive. As I was mentioning before, we are investing a lot of money in really high risk projects. So our idea is that if we have this really high risk, then we need to see that once this project succeeds, it would be a game changer. So it would change the standard of care. It will have an impact on the patients and an impact on the survival, for example. So this is key. We are not looking for a Me Too project. We are looking for a really, really disruptive project. We need to see scientific evidence. So ideas are welcome, but we really want to see that they make sense. There's a really strong science behind, a proof of concept that this is working and that this will work in humans. Also, the competitive advantage is key for us to understand the competitive advantage of each of the companies. So not only comparing with the standard of care or with the companies that are already on the market, but also to the companies that are in more later stage of development and in a more advanced positions that the company is. So this is key for us to understand if we will be really the best in class once we achieve clinical trials and we can achieve the market. And finally, the IP. So it's really relevant for us that you have a really strong IP, that you protect your knowledge to be able just to avoid some competitors in a future. Then we really look at the assets and the business model. So the type of number of assets, it's really key for us. It's really different to invest in a single asset company than a platform company. For example, I think that both have pros and cons. If you are investing in a single asset company, you have more risk of failure, because if the project fails, then the company needs to disappear. But if you invest in a platform company, you have a number of assets, so you are de-risking in this sense. But then you will have really high financial needs, and this is by itself a risk too. So I think that it's important for us just to balance this in our portfolio companies. Also, the scalability of the assets and the business model are key. So there's some VCs that aims to invest in service companies, for example, and others that are not interested at all. So this is something that I also encourage entrepreneurs to understand before contacting the VCs. And finally, the regulatory pathway. So it's important to understand, and that the team understands, which is the regulatory pathway that each of the companies needs to follow and each of the assets needs to follow. Then the stage of development. This is really more a financial thing. We need to understand where the company is, where it's the stage of development and the needs that they will have in the future. So if we are investing in an early, really early stage project, then we will have a higher risk of failure. We'll need more time to see a potential exit, but then the company valuation would be really low. So I think that it's interesting for us to understand this, and also to balance the investments according to the timings of our funds. So if we are investing in the last year of the investment period, then we will look to companies in more advanced positions with less time to exit or for the potential exit than the first year of investment, and then we are more open to invest in more early projects. And this is also key, the financial round that the company is looking for. So it's really different from us. For us, if the company is raising 10 million euros, then if they are raising 50 million euros, and this is also key to understand that the ticket size that each VC is able to invest in the company. So you have to go to the right VC in each stage of development. So not all the VCs invest in all the stages. So this is also an important thing to have in mind. Finally, the market and clinical need. So the indication is for us that we are investing in the healthcare sector is really important for different things. So the first is we need to see a really unmet medical need. And then if there's an unmet medical need, then we are looking to type of indication. If you are going to a really common indication or disease such as breast cancer, for example, you will have to deal with a lot of competitors. You will have to deal with large clinical trials in terms of time, number of patients. You have to design clinical trials comparing with the standard of care that are being used. So this is really, you will need more time and more economic efforts. But then if you reach the market, you will have a really huge market. And on the other hand, if you're going to rare disease, you know that the market is really small, but you have some advantage in terms of regulatory, in terms of that you will need to design clinical trials that would be of less patients, maybe 5-10 patients. So it's key for the time and the financial needs of the company. Then finally, as our goal is to pay back the investment of our LPs we need to understand, and the company needs to understand, where are the exit opportunities of the company. So the time needed just to be able to find a window of potential exit, the type of exit that you are looking for. So you can go to an IPO, as I was mentioning before, entering into a public market, but then you will need a company that is bigger, that it's more a platform company rather than a single asset company. And then also another exit opportunity is the trade sale. So sell the company to a biopharma company, to a pharma company. But for this, you need to understand what are their corporate appetites. So they are looking for this kind of projects, what the pharma needs. This is key for us, just to understand where we will put where to put our money. And then finally, the team. I think that it's something that usually it's not relevant for a lot of people, but for us it is. So you can have a great idea, but you need a team, a really talented team, motivated team that executes this idea. So, and not only I'm talking about the management team, so also for us, for you, the entrepreneurs, it's key to select the key opinion leaders that will help you with the knowledge that you don't have at this moment and in different stages of the development of your company. And finally, the board of directors. So as Nacy was mentioning before, we are not only giving you the money, investing money, but we are investing our networking, our knowledge, everything. So the investors will take part in the board of directors. They will make the decisions, and they can help you growth. So for this is really key for you to pick the VCs that share your values and share your vision of the company. And I think that this is really important. And I would like to finish with this smart money that Nacy started the talk explaining to us. So this is a little bit what we are doing, what we are looking for, and happy to answer any questions that you may have.
Thank you very much, Anna, for your amazing presentation. So I have 3 short questions that I wanted to ask you. I believe they'll be quite simple, and would apply for both of you. So the first question would be, how does a startup reaches up to a VC, or specifically to your VCs?
I can start. So in fact, we are going to a lot of congresses of entrepreneurs and scientists. So we are looking at different opportunities there. A lot of CEOs are contacting us in these congresses. Then we have also on our webpage a contact part, so you can send us the deck, and we are happy to assess all the opportunities that arise, also brokers. So I think that in different you have a lot of opportunities to reach us and to show us the opportunities, and we are really happy to assess all of them.
Thank you.
Yes, usually we are around. It's not hard to get a hold of us, but one thing that you should do is do your homework before you talk to us. Okay, know where we are investing. Okay, go look at our portfolio, go look at our website. Do not just come up to us because you saw us in an event and said, oh, that's an investor. Okay, because if you have a fashion project and then go talk to Anna, that's not a good sign.
Makes perfect sense. Thank you, Nacy. So the second question would be if Semeia and Asabys are specific for the Portuguese and Spanish markets, or if startups from other markets can also contact you for presenting their services and products.
So, well, I can start, Nacy. Asabys, we are investing in around Europe. So mostly with the first fund, we invested mostly in Spain. 70% of our fund was invested in Spain, but the rest of the fund was invested in Europe, in UK, Switzerland, and also Israel. Obviously, we are thinking about the second fund and the strategy of this fund, and hopefully we'll be a little bit more open to invest abroad, Europe and also US if possible.
Yeah, we usually invest in Europe, but we already did one investment in the US. But usually we have around 60% Portugal and then the rest.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. Thank you very much. Okay, so my final question would be, what do you think that applicants most often miss when doing their presentations, or the errors that they do?
Do you want to start?
Yeah, sure. They didn't do their homework on who they're talking to. That's what they miss. Okay. Usually when they're selling their they know what they're talking about, the project, the team, they know everything. They just don't know the person that they're talking to. And that's usually the biggest miss. Okay. Because if you're selling even your passion and everything, but you're selling it to the wrong person, obviously you're going to get a no. And then the other thing that people usually miss is they truly believe that their project is the best project in the world. So if you don't understand it, it's because the investor is not too smart. Okay. It's never the founder that's fault. Okay. Yesterday was Women's Day and I got the worst comment from a founder. I never want to talk to him again, but I'm just going to share it with you so that you know you never do that. He comes up to me and goes, "Nancy, I know you're going to understand my project because you're a woman, because I've only spoken to men and none of the men understood it." And right away I knew, okay, you think I'm dumb. And I'm not talking to you. Okay, don't do that. Okay.
Yeah.
We're very knowledgeable people. Okay.
Exactly. I totally agree with you, Nancy. And other thing that I think that it's common, at least in my space, in the scientific space, in the biopharma space, is that we are seeing a lot of scientists that had a really great ideas, like great publications. For them, they are just starting the company, and as you mentioned, no, it's the best idea they have in the world, etc. So, but they didn't study the market, studied the so how it will translate the research in the lab to the market, which are the competitors that you will find, which is the regulatory pathway that you will find and need to follow. So there's a lot of things that scientists don't know at that moment, but they have to be prepared just to speak with VCs, because they will just ask these kind of questions, which is the regulatory pathway, the competitors, the market that you have, everything, and the exit opportunities that you envision. So this is a lot of things that they should work before sending us a deck or having a call with us.
Thank you very much for sharing your experiences with us today. So this conversation will be recorded and posted to YouTube so that other participants can access the conversation. I would ask if there's any other question from the chat. If not, then I would like to thank both of you, Nancy and Anna, so much for your amazing presentations. I think it will be of real interest for many startups and for many in our network. And hopefully we'll be able to work with you again. So we'll be closing the session. I just want to mention that tomorrow we'll have the last webinar of this series. We'll be speaking about Connect will focus on telehealth and telehealth system resilience. And it will also be an interesting opportunity for you to know more about this project. For those of you who are watching us. Thank you again for our amazing speakers, and hopefully we'll see you soon, and see you tomorrow. Hopefully you're enjoying the event. Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you, Nacy. Thank you, Anna.
Thanks.
Bye.
Powering the innovation for active and healthy aging.